Welcome to Nerds Amalgamated, a podcast that covers the latest events in science, pop culture, and gaming.
I'm the professor, aspiring game developer, sci-fi aficionado, and completely and undeniably a geek trying to take over the world. I'll be breaking down the news from tech to gaming.
I am the DJ, a humble nerd, a big weeb,
and a watcher from the halls of the multiverse.
Just kidding. Anyways, I'll be breaking down all things comics to movies to anime.
Join us and stay hydrated as we quench you with witty banter, unintentionally hilarious hot takes, and trivia more fun than a night at the pub, courtesy of Nerds Amalgamated. Welcome back to Nerds Amalgamated. We have another great show for you this week. We're talking about the future of The Sims, how Hollywood is responding to toxic fans, and bacteria that eats waste plastic.
Woohoo! Yay! Goodbye, plastic.
Well, we'll talk about that more when we get to it, but that could actually be a very bad thing. But before that, we've got the future of The Sims.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so they've announced that there's not going to be a Sims 5 anytime soon. They're still working on a few things like Project Renee, which seems like it might be a multiplayer Sims. But they've basically said there's not going to be a Sims 5, we're going to keep dragging out the Sims 4 as long as possible.
Really? They want to drag an old game for how long are they going to do that for?
Yeah, it's already got a really bad optimization because it's so old and has so much kludged on top of it.
How old is that game?
I think it's about 10 years old. Let's find out. 2014.
Fuck's sakes, you're still doling out content for a 10-year-old game? What the fuck is wrong with you, EA? Fuck!
Well, it's not exactly the worst thing possible to do. I mean, Minecraft is more than 10 years old now.
Yeah,
it's 15 years old and they're still making content for it.
Yeah, fair enough. But that content, at least, it's worthwhile. Like, you can have fun with it. Well, with The Sims, it's not. There's nothing really fun with it. It's just, oh, good, more people.
I take it you've never met a Sims fan.
Nope.
Because Sims fans can get really crazy.
Oh, okay. Okay, how crazy are we saying here? Like, they can pile you on, or they'll torch your car, torch your lawn.
They will make a sim that looks like you and torture it.
Oh, okay, sure. I'll take your word for it. But why? Why push this out to past its logical endpoint?
I suspect it's because of money.
Of course.
They've worked out that they can keep publishing The Sims 4 and farm out all of the new content to fans. Instead of making content in-house, they're going to get fans to create content, which is already a thing, but they have announced that there will be a way for fans to create content and share it, and then have people make money off what they're sharing.
And is EA gonna pay for this, or are they? Is it just?
I just said that.
Oh, right, my bad. Sorry. I thought it was a third-party thing, like, oh, someone else will pay for that shit. No, EA won't do shit.
Well, it's probably not going to be a very well-paying job, but they say there's over 100 million assets in the gallery already.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, and I saw a video the other day by LGR, who unfortunately won't be posting anything for a while because his house just got smashed by a tree.
Oh.
But he's now... look, I haven't played The Sims 4. I've played the older ones, but I sort of boycotted The Sims 4 because it released without a lot of content that was in the older ones. Like, to begin with, there was no swimming pools and no babies.
Oh, okay.
Which were, like, core features. They weren't even DLC. They were core features in The Sims 2 and 3.
Okay, what? Okay, I've never played The Sims. I don't really get the feel for it. But what is truly the objective of The Sims?
You create a family and you just live a life.
Okay, that's it. There's no side quests like, oh, get a job, or do something crazy with your life kind of thing.
Yeah, you can do things like get a job. I don't know that what the gameplay for jobs is like in The Sims 4, but you can get a job, and they do have crazy stuff that you can get. I think it's actually the original Sims games had, so the first two had a few wacky things that would happen that got taken out of later games and turned into DLC
Okay.
because EA are money grubbing bastards.
That's a given. That's always a given with those guys. Yeah, I'm looking at the Sims 4 history. My god, 17 expansions and 12 game packs. What the hell, man?
But some of those crazy things are things like werewolves
Hmm.
and vampires and aliens.
So they're all themed. Nearly all of them are themed, yeah.
Yeah, they started off as Easter eggs, but now they've become full-on themed DLC.
Ah.
And the latest one is Life and Death, which is prominently advertised with the Grim Reaper. And is that, I don't know, was the Grim Reaper not in The Sims 4? Because the Grim Reaper's always been in The Sims.
That's what I've seen. I did hear about it from a friend of mine. He said like, "Oh, there's a Grim Reaper in this too." Like, really? Okay.
Yeah, when a Sim dies, the Grim Reaper pops up and takes them away.
Yeah.
But you can actually, like, beg the Grim Reaper to spare their life.
Yeah, I like how the reason why they want to keep the Sims going is apparently to General Manager Kate Gorman. They in her words, the speed of pop culture.
Yeah, so what she's basically saying is that she thinks that they can't keep up with developing content for The Sims that will keep up with pop culture, and that fans will be able to do that, which makes sense. There's a lot more fans than there are people actually developing for The Sims. But I also think this is a way to get around licensing fees, because if you take something that's a big hit, like, say, Wednesday was a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
then you might have someone building the Addams Family house and uploading it to the store. Well, generally, the licensing of fan-made content is a lot looser than the licensing of paid content. That's
Okay.
not to say that they won't still file takedowns. Like, Gary's Mod just a couple of months ago lost all of its Nintendo-themed DLC. Well, not DLC. Yes, it's DLC. It's downloadable, but it's fan-made and free-to-play.
Yeah.
Nintendo, being Nintendo, filed takedowns against all of the Nintendo-themed content on there. But then The Sims, I think they can't officially release a Addams Family house without partnering with whoever owns the Addams Family now.
I think it's Netflix that owns the Adam Family rights. I think, but I could be wrong.
Okay, because I know it's been through a few different companies in the last 60 years or however long it's been. But if a fan does it, then that's a little bit of separation.
So they've got Adams. Oh, okay, so Amazon was the one that purchased MGM in 2021, which in turn means that the Adams Family rights now rest with the company. Oh dear.
Okay. Anyway, on The Sims.
Yeah.
So this new creator program where you can create content that will then go onto a paid store. Does this remind you of paid mods at all?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was thinking about that as well. It has that paid mod look to it.
Yeah. And on one hand, I'm glad that they can make money out of
Sims
their
content.
work. Yeah.
Yeah.
That fans can create content and get paid for it.
Uh-huh.
On the other hand, I feel like modding has always had this sort of purity that it's done out of love.
That's a labor of love. Like they will say, like my creation is a labor of love.
Yeah, and it feels like it's corrupting that.
On the one hand, I get it. Like if you're a fan and you want to show off your work, then yeah, okay, cool. It's cool. It's cool you have that platform there. But on the other hand, I hate that whole idea of okay, just because you're getting money off it doesn't mean it means you're selling out. That's a really bad concept. Well, that's a really bad mentality. Like if you're getting paid. If you're getting paid for the content that you made, you deserve it because people love your content.
Yeah, but so are they getting paid a reasonable amount? We don't know yet. And the Because if they are farming it out to fans and paying slave labor rates, then you will get people, probably from third world countries, who try to make this a job because slave labor rates in the West are obviously a lot more money in the third world.
Yeah, yeah. And not to,
And it
oh,
feels exploitive to do that.
yeah. And the other problem also you have to deal with is the fact that, let's say for example, you create something for The Sims 4, and someone copies your work and claims it as your own as well.
Yeah, we've seen people rip off mods made for other games. So that wouldn't surprise me to see that happen eventually.
Yeah.
And to have people repackaging free mods as paid mods to try and skim a bit of money off.
Yeah, and the other bonus to this, I whether you might agree with me on this one, I reckon the other good thing about this is this is a good form of community building.
I suppose that's a more positive way to look at it.
Yeah,
They obviously have a community there, and by helping them spread their custom content around, then that might help build a community and get some people's names out there.
yeah, but let me guess but there's a downside to this, isn't there?
No, I think I've covered most of the downsides.
Well, it's interesting because Gorman said this. She said this. It's an quote. It's an early way to be part of that process and know that these are experimental and they're going to evolve. We might learn that they're great or something the community isn't interested in. You'll see a more iterative process there. And the article also says the plan to create multiple Sims projects has already seen EA remaster 2 My Sim games for the Nintendo Switch. It also stresses the Project Renee is designed to sit alongside The Sims 4, not replace it. The challenge whenever a company expands its game portfolio like this is that it can potentially split the community, and it's something Gorman is conscious of,
Yeah.
saying that there is a chance we could do that. On the one hand, we could grow the community, grow the audience, and over 25 years, we've seen The Sims be part of people's lives for a generation, and we've seen the explosion of that. 25 years ago, you had a specific computer that you can do this, and now you can do it on your phone. That is why it's important to ensure we're looking at it and are all available and are available in all these places.
Yeah, that is one thing. If they did release The Sims 5,
Yeah,
The Sims 4 wasn't well received on release because it did cut a lot of content that was base content in The Sims 3, and then people had to rebuy the DLCs again. But sometimes you do need to do a complete overhaul and create a new product because you're just dealing with what they call technical debt,
okay,
where
yeah,
the existing product is 10 years old, and because it was built so long ago, it relies on things that have been replaced or greatly improved. It could, like, The Sims 2, The Sims 1, you could only have your family on one house at a time.
mm.
Then I think in The Sims 2, they added the ability to have your family go and visit other places. Then The
I'll have,
Sims 3 tried to be open world. So big technical leaps like that can't happen without releasing a new overhaul.
yeah, and Gorman was also pointing out the that being with this by saying My Sims on Switch is our first Nintendo product for some time, and we're really excited to be able to be on a platform that resonates so much with the community. If you have a Switch, you can't play a game. You couldn't play a Sims game before, and this is the first step to broaden our availability and meet players where they are.
Yeah, they're trying to expand to other platforms. But
Hmm.
those are, because they're less powerful platforms, especially the Switch, wow. That they have to cut back a lot.
But then I get it that they want to I get it they want to expand on all other consoles and stuff. But wasn't there isn't there like a bit of a hatred for it though? Like if you want to expand content to all other platforms, like Diablo for example, when Diablo was in the mobile phone industry or joined the mobile phone gaming side, people were really upset about it.
Yeah, they were expecting a full PC release, and they got a mobile game.
Yeah, but I'm interested to see how people will react with the with being in the Nintendo with the Nintendo platform, and maybe and also hitting into the mobile phone industry as well.
Before we move on, there's one thing I found out about from this article that has completely surprised me.
Oh yeah.
I had heard rumors about it in the past, but they are going ahead with making a Sims movie. With what story? Minecraft has more story than The Sims.
Oh, come on. Yeah, it'll be pretty funny. Imagine that with the Sims movie. Jack Black in the Sims movie. Imagine Jack Black in the Sims movie. My name is random guy on the Sims.
Yeah, I don't think that worked as well as you thought it was going to.
But yeah, like how that's a good question. How are they gonna make it into a Sims movie? Like, I mean, they Sonic made sense. Minecraft is not making sense at all, to be honest. Like, I've seen the trailer. I've seen bits and pieces of it. I'm just going, it's not the thing's not there. Like, it's not hitting. It's not hitting it to me.
No, I don't think we're the target audience for the Minecraft movie.
Yeah, yeah. Even Borderlands movie was just what the hell, man. Oh no. Apparently, I don't know whether there's some conflicting reports, but some are saying that Jack Black might be in the Sims movie according to his IMDb.
Okay.
Let's see if let's see. Nothing is coming out upcoming except that sir. There is all conflicting reports, so I don't know. Wait, yeah, I'm looking as IMDb. Nothing is coming out. Nothing.
Looks like it might have Margot Robbie in it.
Yeah. Hang on a second. I don't know. Live. Okay. This. Here we go. Screen Rant's done a article about this. Yeah, Margot Robbie and Kate Herron from Loki are already been attached.
So specifically, that's Margot Robbie's movie studio and Kate Herron as a screenwriter.
Yep.
So maybe Margot Robbie won't be acting in the movie, but we'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah. Yep.
So, DJ,
Oh boy. Yes.
why don't you tell us about how Hollywood's handling toxic fans?
So, as you've been seeing the last few weeks, last few days now, people are getting angry with with what's happening with movies and TV shows. Recently with Joker 2. God, that movie is absolutely terrible. And then there was the cancellation of The Acolyte, where the lead actress Amandla Stenberg posted on Instagram stories about Lucasfilm's abrupt decision not to pick up the show after season 1, where she stated, "It's not a huge shock for me since the series was. It's not a huge shock for me. We started experience a rampage of, I would say, hyper conservative bigotry and vitriol, prejudice, hatred, and hateful language towards us." Stenberg was unavailable comment for that story. So, in other words, the Acolyte was a latest high-profile target of toxic fandom. Which is just basically a term for fan criticisms curdled from good faith dissatisfaction into relentless negative and very bad online campaigns against the project and its stars or creative leaders. One veteran marketing executive has says it comes with the territory, but it's gotten incredibly loud in the last couple of years. People are just out for blood regardless. They think the purity of the first version will never be replaced, or you've done something to upset the canon of the beloved franchise, and they're going to take you down for doing so. What do you reckon about that stance?
Yeah, I think people are a lot more negative these days. And they're a lot more likely to go on a crusade against a show or movie that they think has slighted them in some way.
To be honest,
my thought is just don't watch it.
Yeah, but okay. I hate that mentality of people go like, if you don't like it, don't watch it. Okay, fair enough. Okay, we don't watch it, and if the show gets if the show gets cancelled, Then they go back to, oh, it's basically the fandoms. They didn't want to watch. They didn't watch it, and they'll start blaming us for it. Like, okay, we didn't, but you told us not to watch it, and we didn't watch it. So why are you crying about this then? It's like
I
you
think
can't.
you'll find there's different people complaining about each issue. There's the people who say if you don't like it, don't watch it,
Yeah,
aren't going to be the ones crying that you didn't watch it.
but they do though. They do, but they
Really? The same people? Exactly the same people?
yeah, yeah, exactly the same
Sources,
people.
please.
Sources, all right. Like, what was it? For example, the my favorite one is the Charlie's Angels one. Charlie's Angels remake, and how I think one of the directors was like, "Oh, if you don't like it, don't watch it." Or so. Oh no, actually, no. I can think of a better one. Battlefield, the game. For example, I think one of the directors was saying like how if you don't like the game, don't play it, and then all of a sudden starts crying when the game didn't perform well. It's like, why didn't you play this game?
The same people.
Possibly the same people, but that's my point though. Like people will still complain even if you don't do it.
Then don't care what they think. If people are going to complain either way, and they're different people complaining for different reasons, then just don't care what they think. It's simple. And if something is really that offensive and offensive to the canon,
Yeah.
then not watching it will get it cancelled. Like Vilma, people hate watched it, and now we've got 3 seasons of it.
Oh, is it? I thought it was two, but I thought it was two
I
seasons.
think I saw they were doing a third.
Oh, please tell me it's not. There's no third. Oh my gosh, there's a third. Oh wait, no, there's no third season. There's a special. Oh shit,
Okay.
there's a special and it came out 4 days ago. Fuck's sakes.
Well, anyway, if people had ignored it,
Yeah.
what do you think would have happened? It would have been cancelled, it would have faded into the abyss, and it would have been decanonized eventually.
I understand that fact. but
Just
the
like the Ghostbusters movie,
oh
when
yeah,
they did that women-led reboot,
yeah.
nobody watched it, and then they brought back the original actors and rebooted the whole thing again.
Yeah, but you see, but then here's the thing. Paul Feig is still complaining about this. Have you seen his latest one?
Then don't give a shit what Paul thinks.
But it's absolutely hilarious to see it. Well, let's see. What did he put this time?
Now, I think there's something in this article.
Yeah.
They point out a couple of examples where people are really review bombing a show before it's even come out because it has a gay character in it, or because there's an interracial romance, or something that offends people who are really, frankly, bigots. And then they review bomb it, not based on the quality of the show, but on the fact that there's something in it that they think they don't like.
So okay, so I'm gonna say this. I'm not gonna speak for the entirety of of the toxic fandom. Like, yeah, sure, you're gonna get toxic, crazy people within the toxic fandom side of things. Like, even the fandom side, you'll get crazy people in there too. But calling everyone a toxic fan, even the more reasonable people, it just sounds misguided.
But they're not calling everyone a toxic fan.
But it feels like it though. Like, even if you okay, even
Then you're
if
feeling wrong. You should get that checked out.
like, if I were to say to you like, hey, this new backstory of Doctor Who is pretty shit, and I didn't like it because of the way it was written and stuff, and I come in a reasonable angle, are you gonna call me a toxic fan?
No, I'm not. I'm going to
Okay.
call you a toxic fan if you're going to say Jodie Whittaker was a shit doctor because she's a woman.
I wouldn't say that. I would say like,
There
yeah,
are plenty of people who have said that, and that makes them toxic fans. There are people
Okay.
who refuse to watch Doctor Who because she was a woman.
And I think though, as I said, you will get crazy people in the toxic fandom side of things, and people who say that will be will be part of the toxic fandom, and they deserve to be in there. But like, I just think like using calling people, anyone, even the reasonable types, as the toxic fan, as I said, it's just misguided. Like, it's like, was it the other day? I saw when Ubisoft, for example, I know we're kind of veering off topic, but the point is basically, Ubisoft the other day was saying like how, oh, people, you're not buying Ubisoft products. You're a toxic gamer. You're a toxic fan. I'm like, no, we don't. We just hate the inferior products you're giving out. So I just hate it how they just they've used that term so willy nilly. Would you agree with that though, Professor?
No, I think there are people out there who are trying to conflate their toxic fandom as being reasonable discussion because it works to make them sound less crazy.
Yeah, I guess, but I just think discussion is a way of disseminating who's the crazy and who's the reasonable. So one of the so as I'm just looking at the one of the people here, they're saying that combating these bullhorn amounts to acting as if they can't hear it. But the quote, particularly when it's negative, toxic conversations, we don't engage, says a TV executive. Like with toxic people, you try to not give too much oxygen, quote unquote. One principal concern is reacting to these kinds of attacks risk alienating fans who are unhappy with creative choices about a franchise that haven't tipped over into abusive behavior. So a studio may attempt to amplify friendlier voices instead. A TV executive also says, we'll reply to comments that are positive and elevate those things. So a couple of studios have decided the best defense to avoid provoking the fandoms is one is standardized focus group testing, which involves assembling a special cluster of superfans to assess project possible marketing materials for a major franchise project.
That just sounds like focus grouping to me.
I
I
understand.
don't know what the difference is between that and the focus groups that have been done for decades.
Well, the executive said that they're very vocal. They will just tell us if you don't do that, the fans are going to retaliate. These groups have even led studios to alter projects. If it's early and the movie isn't finished yet, we can make those changes. Which I think it's focus groups. They do kind of work, but on the other hand, they don't work. I mean, if I recall, a couple of movies, they did win focus groups, and some of those and after many changes from the focus groups, they didn't come out for the better. Like Wonder Woman, for example, 1984. If I recall, they went through a couple of focus groups and it did not end well. And so the studios had to do a couple of reshoots. And when it came out, it was it didn't end well.
But were those standard focus groups or were these super nerd focus groups?
They were standard focus groups, if I recall.
Well, then that's a different thing, then, isn't it?
And it's interesting. I shared this type of discussion with another group of people a couple weeks ago, and one wrote because focus groups worked out so well in the past, and another one said, so what if the super fans are too loyal to a project to give any critical assessment? You would essentially be hiring a bunch of yes men that would give you the exact outcome you are trying to avoid. Alternatively, you could make a calculated risk which the superfans would shoot down. What do you reckon of that idea, of that logic?
I don't see why that wouldn't be a concern when focus grouping anything.
Because I think if when you I think it depends on who you choose in the focus group. Like if you get like a bunch of super fans who are super critical to your work and they know the work, then yeah, cool. Then it could work out. It could work. But if you get like a bunch of yes men, then it's not going to end well.
Well, that's going to happen whether you do a superfan focus group or a regular people focus group.
Yeah, that makes sense. And several studio insiders have say they often put their talent through a social media boot camp. In some cases, when a character is intentionally challenging a franchise's status quo, studios will, with the actor's permission, take over their social media accounts entirely. When things go really bad, especially threats of violence, security firms will scrub talent information from the internet to protect them from doxing.
Yeah, that's a good idea because there are crazy people out there.
Oh yeah, there are crazy people out there. But handing your social media off to a company—that's
A standard thing any famous person does anyway.
that too. But I just think it's That's a very scary thing to do. Like, would you really want to? Can you trust the organization? Can you trust the organization you're handing your social media to, though, in good faith, to be precise?
I feel like they have a contract where they're not allowed to post anything without it being pre-approved by the owner of the account.
Hmm.
And they'd be there more as a shield from feedback. Because being online with people posting comments about like abusing you just wears you down. It's like any kind of bullying. It will wear you down eventually.
Oh yeah, yeah. I get that. Social media wears a lot of people down, and I understand that. But then the problem is, celebrities use social media as well, just to go. I want. This is my life. Look at my social media. Cool. Check out my TikTok and all that, and all the jazz that comes with it.
That's just bypassing paparazzi, putting the paparazzi out of a job.
Yeah. I don't know. I think as I said, we can discuss more about the toxic fandom side of things till the cows come home. But I think the the battle will never end. Essentially, like it'll never stop.
Yeah, and I think there's a big difference between people who have criticism and people who are just being bigoted.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then there's the people in between who are taking genuine criticism and then being incredibly toxic about it.
Yeah, yeah.
The people who are like crazy.
And the other thing you also have to the other scary thing is also we're seeing a lot of what I was going to say also with the social media boot camp is the fact that we're seeing you're giving studios more power as well.
More power to do what?
Like just control your life essentially.
How?
Like don't write this, don't write that, don't post this stuff, don't post that
You know
stuff.
they've had that power all the time anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just that it used to be if they didn't want you posting something and you posted something they didn't like, they'd fire you. Now they just block it before you ever get your hands on a keyboard.
Yep.
Anyway, moving on to our science topic.
Yep.
It turns out there's a kind of bacteria that can break down plastic for food. There's a family of bacteria, Commononadidae, I think. It's not an easy word to say. So these bacteria break down the plastic into smaller pieces, then secrete an enzyme that breaks it down and use a ring of carbon atoms from the plastic as a food source.
Okay.
Which is great news, because that means there's a way to deal with microplastics.
And we get food at the same time.
Well, the bacteria gets food.
Okay.
I don't know if we can eat the bacteria. Probably not.
I mean, it's a nice idea to say that they found something. I just want to see it tried out into the field at some point. Maybe
Well,
help
this
out.
is a natural bacteria. They're already out in the field breaking down plastic in wastewater. Now they're doing research that might lead to bioengineering these bacteria into breaking down even plastic even faster, which is a interesting thought. What if it goes rogue and eats all of the plastic everywhere?
It was what does it remind me of? It reminds me of that episode from Ben 10 about that. It
Never
went
seen it.
it was yep, it was a funny episode, let's just say. But yeah, it also reminds me of Red Dwarf with the potato virus, the potato peeling virus.
I don't recall how that one worked. What did it do?
So it was basically Rimmer and Lister were sent to peeling potatoes, and it was a big mountain of potatoes, and one of the droids gave him a virus that can peel all the potatoes, and the side effect was basically it eats their clothes.
Oh, yes.
And they go to the commander's office, and they're like, "All right, you're sentenced to a few months on the hole." And the virus starts eating his hair.
Yeah, well, I can see that being an issue. The bacteria that breaks down this plastic, if it got into, well, hopefully it can only survive in water, where it would be really great to have the bacteria breaking down plastic, because that's where most microplastics seem to end up.
Yeah.
But if it got airborne somehow and found its way into like hospitals,
Oh no.
because yeah, there's a lot of stuff in hospitals that relies on plastic.
Oh no. You have but it's I'm just wondering, you have just essentially killed society.
Yeah,
I'm just worried about more like, can you imagine this virus eats your credit cards?
that would probably help with the budget.
Like goodbye plastic money. Like you just sent the society back to the dark ages. Everyone starts bartering and starts using coins. I mean, hell, you have effectively destroyed technology.
Yep. I'm really interested in this project though, because we don't know the effects of microplastics on people entirely yet.
Yeah.
We know they're probably not good for you, and in some cases we know that they aren't, and it would effectively solve our issues with plastic waste. It's wild that there was a time when plastic was seen as the eco-friendly choice.
Oh yeah, yeah. They used to be. I also remember how they would say like, "Oh, don't put plastics in microwave ovens because it's of the harmful effects."
Well, we're running out of time, so we should move on to our shout-outs.
Yeah, yeah.
On the 4th of October, we passed the 20th anniversary of Mortal Kombat Deception.
Ah, it was a good game.
Yeah, you're the only one who plays Mortal Kombat around here, so why don't you tell us about it?
So this game is a sequel to Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, which came out in 2002. This came out in PlayStation 2 and Xbox and the GameCube. This was an interesting game in terms of there are the number of fighters, the character designs, they were cool. Sub-Zero looked like the Shredder from Ninja Turtles at one point. There was some cool features they had, like there was the concept of death traps in combat. There was also the concept of moving combat in terms of you can move. The arena wasn't just like a standardized circle and a standardized circle. It was basically you can move around to different parts of the of a place. There was also chess combat as well. That was a mini game. There was also puzzle combat, which was basically puzzle fighter with the old Japanese games. Well, yeah, Japanese games that have the puzzle Tetris sort of thing. There was also a section. There was also a conquest mode in the game. In the Deadly Alliance, it was basically a tutorial of what the of each character. But for this one, it was they added a more story mode feel to it as well. And with this version of Conquest, it was how Mortal Kombat Deception came about, and it was chronicling the life of a fighter. And this fighter was originally on a mission from God, essentially to search for the artifacts to give the antagonist more powers. It was a fun game. And this was also the game that had you could play as Liu Kang as a zombie and Liu Kang as a ghost one too.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that was a fun game to play for a while.
Well, on the same day, we passed the 20th anniversary of Spaceship One winning the Ansari X Prize for private spaceflight. Spaceship One, developed by Mojave Aerospace Ventures, which was a joint venture between Paul Allen and Burt Rutan, produced the first privately funded human spacecraft, and on the July 21st, 2004, made the first privately funded human spaceflight, which won at the $10 million Ansari X Prize. It reached 100 kilometers in altitude, which is above the Kármán line, the commonly accepted boundary of space, twice in a 2-week period with the equivalent of 3 people on board and no more than 10% of the non-fuel weight of the spacecraft replaced between flights. Development costs are estimated to be $25 million, so they didn't quite make their money back there.
Holy shit.
And Spaceship One is registered as a glider because most of its independent flight is unpowered.
Wait, then where does the rocket part come in then?
I believe this is the one that's carried into the air with another plane and then dropped off and rides a rocket the rest of the way into space.
Okay.
And we passed the 90th anniversary of Cecil DeMille's Cleopatra on the 5th of October, which was a 1934 American epic film telling the story of Cleopatra VIII of Egypt. It was a difficult shoot because the actress who played Cleopatra, Claudette Colbert, contracted appendicitis and was only able to stand for a few minutes at a time. She was terrified of snakes, so they put off filming the death scene for as long as possible. And at the time of shooting, the director walked onto the set with a boa constrictor wrapped around his neck and handed Colbert a tiny golden snake.
I mean, that's nice of him to have the biggest snake while she gets the smaller snake.
Yeah, I feel like he was just trying to wind her up there.
And it gets more detailed on the next paragraph, by the way.
Yeah. So she was terrified of snakes when the director came in with the giant boa constrictor, she begged him not to come closer. So he pulled out the small snake and said, "How about this instead?" She was happy to film the scene with a small snake.
I would you ever do it though? Would you ever touch a snake? Like film it with a snake?
I've
If you were
touched
to?
snakes.
Are they okay? I've tried touching a snake once. I can't do it. I just can't do it. There's something about snakes to me. Just nope. I'm not touching it. Like I will touch a koala. They're fine, but I will not touch a snake.
You're a wuss.
Uh-huh. I'll be happy with that. Thank you.
So, on the 1st of July 1934, the Motion Picture Production Code was rigidly enforced and expanded by Joseph Breen, creating the pre-code and the post-code eras of film. Despite this, they were able to get away with risque imagery for Cleopatra, opening the film with an apparently naked, strategically lit slave girl holding up an incense burner as the title appears on the screen. And the director, Cecil B. DeMille, was adamant that the Roman soldier extras had to fight with ancient combat skills. To demonstrate, he grabbed a spear from an extra and charged at Wilcoxon with it without warning. Wilcoxon fought back with his sword, and after 2 minutes of dueling, Wilcoxon cut the tip off the spear. DeMille told the extras that if they didn't want to fight like this, they had to leave now, and half of the extras did.
Can you... I bet those extras was like, no, I prefer to fight with a gun. Damn it, I hate this sword and shield shit. This reminds me. Oh, sorry.
Go on.
No, I was gonna say this reminds you of that Indiana Jones moment.
Yeah. Whip versus gun.
Yep.
Which itself was filmed that way because Harrison Ford was sick. And there was a seduction scene that took multiple takes because on the first and second takes, a bull on which a scantily clad girl was dancing decided to defecate on the floor, which is decidedly unseductive.
Oh, that'll just ruin the romantic moment. Imagine you're like this girl, you're like dancing with an animal, and all of a sudden it poops to see like, oh, there goes the mood for my romance.
Yep.
Oh, it's like nothing's gonna recuperate, nothing's gonna regain that momentum after that scene, after that moment. Oh, that'd be one hell of a mood killer.
So, DJ, what is our messed up moment this week?
So, for our messed up moment in nerddom number 29. Okay, so let me give you a scenario. Imagine this. You find your friend trapped and too injured to defend themselves from the flesh-eating aliens literally swarming around them. They beg for you to shoot them rather than let them get eaten alive. What would you do? Would you A, try and shoot them and see where the bullet goes? B, run for your life and never look back? Or C, just smile and just don't do anything?
I'd give them a grenade like the scene in Aliens.
So basically none of the above.
Yeah.
So in this scene, what happens is the other person tried and they missed because out of panic and fear, and now they're out of ammo. And what happens is the main character then falls to her knees, unable to do nothing but watch as their friend gets torn to pieces and devoured. And then the aliens turn to the person after eating the friend. Now that's seriously messed up. And that's actually from an anime series called Mu Love alternative total eclipse.
Right, well, wacky movie this week is 1978's Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Oh boy, that was a fun movie.
You've seen it?
I've seen the trailers, and I just went, "What the hell am I watching?"
Yeah, so the plot is that a group of scientists have to save the world from mutated killer tomatoes. The finished film features a real helicopter crash. A $60,000 Hillier aircraft UH-12E had been rented for the production and was supposed to land in the tomato patch behind some officers who were fighting off a horde of tomatoes. During the landing, the tail rotor struck the ground, causing the aircraft to spin out of control, roll over, and burst into flames. A giant tomato wearing what appears to be giant earmuffs was using two big bright green toilet seat covers.
Imagine going to the shop and you buy two bright green toilet seat covers. Imagine being the shopkeeper. Like, hey, so what are you gonna buy those for? Oh, it's for a movie. What's it called? Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. And you're that shopkeeper. And you see that movie, like, I bought it for those guys. What would you say to that?
I don't know. Most of the cars had never acted before, and several never acted again.
Gee, I wonder why.
Oh, that's all we have for you this week. Where can they find us, DJ?
They can find us on social media such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And they can also find us on all audio platforms.
So look after yourself, stay hydrated, and we'll see you next time.
Stay happy, stay nerdy, and I'll see you guys soon.